Okay, brilliant. Right, here we go with our next pre-teach. We've been looking at decimals all of last week, and we're looking at decimals this week, and we've done really, really well. You can see here I've got my place value chart, and we can see, as we know, each place value as we move along this way is getting 10 times smaller. So tenths is 10 times smaller than ones, hundredths is 10 times smaller than tenths, and so on and so forth. And as we move this way, everything's getting 10 times bigger. And that's really helpful when we come to do our task today, which is to order decimal numbers. Okay, we're going to be looking at ordering decimal numbers from smallest to largest, or largest to smallest, by following some simple steps. Okay, so you've got to listen up for these steps. I'm going to put some decimal numbers up. Put them down here so we can see them. There we go. Oh. So we've got 6 decimal numbers here, and we've got to try and figure out which is the smallest and which is the largest. Okay, and it's important to remember that tenths is bigger than hundredths and hundredths is bigger than thousands. That'll help us remember when we're looking at this. Okay, so let's have a look at the decimal numbers. This is what we need to do. When you're ordering decimal numbers, you always look at each place value in turn. Okay, and you always start with the biggest place value, and as we know, it's going this way, so the biggest place value will be the one furthest to the left. Okay, so we're going to start, in this case, the biggest place value in all of these numbers is the tens column. Okay, so when you're comparing them, we start, in this case, with the tens column. This number's got 110, this number's got 110, this number's got 110, 110, 110, 110. That doesn't help us sort out the order because they've all got the same number of tens. So now we need to look at the next place value along, which is the ones column. So this number has 2 ones, this number has 2 ones, this number has got 2 lots of ones, this number is 2 ones, 2 ones, and 2 ones. So again, it doesn't tell us anything. So now we move to the next column along, which we know is the tenths column. This number has 0 tenths, this number has 1 tenth, this number has 1 tenth, this number has 1 tenth, this number has 0 tenths, and this number has 2 tenths. Okay, so we know that we're looking at the number now with the smallest number of tenths. So this number had 0 tenths, and this number. So it's between these two numbers to see which one is the smallest number. They both have the same number of tens, they both have the same number of ones, and they both have 0 tenths. And all the rest of the numbers have at least 1 tenth or more, which means they're bigger. Okay? So they've got 0 tenths, so now we need to look at the next place value along, which is the hundredths column. This number has 1 hundredth, this number has 0 hundredths. Okay, that tells me straight away that this number is bigger than this number because it's got 1 hundredth. It doesn't matter that this number has 1,000th because we know that thousandths are smaller than hundredths. They're 10 times smaller than hundredths. So this might have more digits in it, but it doesn't matter because the 1,000th is smaller than hundredths. So this number is bigger. It's got 1 hundredth. Therefore, this number here, 12.001, is my smallest number. So I'm going to write that on my chart and keep my place value lined up. So 110, 2 ones, decimal points always at the right hand side of my ones, 0 tenths, 0 hundredths, and 1,000th. That's my smallest number, 12.001. I can now cross that one out. Okay, and now I'm going to look for my next smallest, or my second biggest. So not my second biggest, my next smallest number that's second bigger than my smallest number, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start all over again, looking at my biggest place value, which is my tens column. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, doesn't tell me anything, so I move on to my units column, or my ones column. 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones. Doesn't tell me anything, so I now move to my tenths column, looking for the next smallest number. 0 tenths, 1 tenth, 1 tenth, 1 tenth, and 2 tenths. So I can see straight away that this number has got 0 tenths. It must be the next smallest because all of the other numbers have got at least 1 or more tenths. So they're going to be a little bit bigger. So this number is my next smallest. So I'm going to write that on my chart underneath the number that I've just put up there. So 110 2 ones, decimal point always stays on the right side of my ones, 0 tenths, and 1 hundredth. That is my next smallest number. It's bigger than this number because it's got 1 hundredth, and this number has got 0 hundredths, okay? And we know that hundredths is bigger than thousandths. Right, I'm going to cross that number out. I've now got 4 left. I'm going to start again, looking at my biggest place value, which is my tens column. 110, 110, 110, 110. Now look at my ones column. 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones. Doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to move again to my tenths column. 1 tenth, 1 tenth, 1 tenth, 2 tenths. Okay, so this must be bigger than all of these 3 numbers because it's got 2 tenths and they have only 1 tenth. So it's between these 3. They've all got 1 tenth, so now I need to look at my hundredths column. This number has got nothing in the hundredths column, so it's got 0 hundredths. I could put a 0 in there if I wanted to, but there isn't one. It's still the same, it's got 0 hundredths. This number has also got 0 hundredths, and this number has got 2 hundredths. So this one is slightly bigger than these two because it's got 2 hundredths, and these numbers have 0 hundredths. Okay? I need to look at the next place value along, which is the thousands column. There's nothing here in the thousands column, so it's got 0 thousandths. This number has got 1 thousandth. That means it's 1 thousandth bigger than this number. Okay? So this number is my next smallest. So I'm going to put that on my grid. So it's 110, 2 ones, decimal point always stays on the right side of 1. I've got 1 tenth, and I've got 0 hundredths and 0 thousandths. I could put zeros in there if I wanted to, but I'm not going to at the moment. So I'm going to cancel that one out. I've got 3 numbers left. Start again. 110, 110, 110. 2 ones, 2 ones, 2 ones. 1 tenth, 1 tenth, 2 tenths. So I can see that this number is bigger. It's between these two. Okay? They've both got 110. They've both got 2 ones. They've both got 1 tenth. So now I look at my hundredths column. This number has got 0 hundredths. This number has got 2 hundredths. Okay? So this number has to be smaller. Doesn't matter that this number has 1 thousandth, because we know that thousandths are 10 times smaller than hundredths. Okay? So that means that the next smallest number has to be this number here, because it's got 0 hundredths and this number has got 2 hundredths. So this is bigger. Okay? So this is my next smallest. 110, 2 ones, decimal point always stays on the right side of my ones, 1 tenth, 0 hundredths, and 1 thousandth. Okay? That's bigger than this number because this number has 2 hundredths and this number has 0 hundredths. I'm going to cross that one out. I've got 2 numbers left. Start again. 110, 110, 2 ones, 2 ones, 1 tenth, 2 tenths. This number is bigger than this number because this number has got 1 tenth and this number has got 2 tenths. So this is my next smallest number. 1, 10, 2 ones, decimal point always on the right side of 1, 1 tenth, and 2 hundredths. Cancel that one out, which means, just going to move this down a little bit, which means that my largest number has to be 12.21. 2 ones, 2 tenths, and 1 hundredth. Okay? 12.21. So let's have a look at that. Now that I've lined them up vertically, you can clearly see that they're in order of smallest to largest. Okay? Now again, remember, it doesn't matter that this number has more digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the biggest number only has 4 digits, because we've got to look at each place value separately, because thousandths is much smaller. It's 10 times smaller than hundredths, and hundredths is 10 times smaller than tenths. Okay? So the smallest number is 12.001 because it's only got 1 thousandth, it's got no hundredths and no tenths, and the largest number is 12.21 because it's got 1 hundredth and it's got 2 tenths. Okay? And so I've ordered my numbers from smallest to largest. Okay? So let's just recap what we did there through the next 2 pages. When ordering decimal numbers, look at one place value at a time. Start with the largest place value, so the place value that's furthest to the left, because we know they get 10 times bigger as they move along. Write out your place value chart, just like I did, depending on how far you need to go. And order your numbers vertically, going down the page to help you check the place value carefully. If you follow those rules, you can't go wrong. So, your challenge now is, I want you at home, ready for our next lesson on Wednesday, I want you to order these 6 decimal numbers from smallest to largest. And they're all to do with length. They're all in centimeters, but that doesn't matter. That's just what these decimal numbers represent this time. So follow the steps that I showed you and see if you can order these 6 numbers from smallest to largest. And we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday. Good luck.